I don't know. I stole from my roommate.
What is up, movie buffs? I'm Jeremy, and movies are terrible. And I appreciate so. That's how I abridged appreciate you so. Appreciate so much for stopping by this Saturday morning to talk a little bit about the Marvel animated series What If. This episode we're going to be talking about episode 2, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? And before we get started, I want to give a little bit of love to those of you that are in the chat right now. That is Nick Mayfield, Patrick McCabe, TMS, SMT, Jay Wolfie. You guys are the best. Nick Mayfield, I think I said you already. There's a double dose of a what's up for you this morning. And I want to give a special shout out and send well wishes to our good friend King of the Hills 34, who is in the chat right now and could use a little bit of your love, a little bit of your positivity. So shoot some of that his way, because we all go through things from time to time, and we all need a little help from our friends. So send him some well wishes. Let him know you're thinking about him throughout this very trying and confusing time in our lives. But yeah, so wanted to say quick what's up to our friend Shane, Colby Sullivan, Mark McKeever. What's up, you guys? How's it going? So yeah, man, I just, as we've been doing for the past several weeks, if there's a Marvel property that's been released since the previous one, I'm going to talk about it with you guys. We did it for Black Widow. We did it for Loki before that. I think we did some for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We did. And now I am doing the What If series. So if you want to check out episode 1 of that, you will be able to right here on the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel. So appreciate yo, or whatever the fuck I said a minute. Appreciate. Yeah, man. So I'm trying to get the live chat set up where you can actually read it on the screen, but I'm starting to realize that tiny black text, it ain't the way to go, man. I can read it over here, but I can't read it over there. So, yeah, I'm gonna make that a little bigger. Maybe change the font's color anyways. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I did recently make a new shirt design in honor of Devil's Night, which is creeping up on us pretty soon. We got about 2 months right now, but before you know it, it's going to be Halloween, and it's going to be my favorite time of year. I've got some fun content planned for the month of October, including a very special video that I'm going to be doing with a friend of the community where we discuss one of my all-time favorite films, if not my favorite film, as well as his favorite film. And I'm not sure if you know what that's from, but it's a little quote from a movie called The Crow. It was a 1994 release, I believe. I'm going to have to do a little studying before then, but it's very cool, very of its time movie that really speaks to where I was at in my life then. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check out The Crow, maybe put that on the list so that you can, you know, be a part of the conversation when that time does come. Also, keep an eye out for some upcoming reviews. I've got one for the Night House that I'm going to be releasing here relatively soon. And then, as I mentioned, you're going to be able to find a lot of horror-related content throughout the month of October. So just be ready for that. Just be ready for that. Mike Gallagher, what's up, my friend? Thank you very much for stopping by, being a part of the conversation, and joining here in the live chat. I hope you guys are having a good Saturday morning so far. I did want to say it's a little laggy on my end with the internet, but I think after today, I'm going to get it resolved. My good friend Colby Sullivan from the Fan Out crew on YouTube, who's doing a whole Marvel rewatch series. Colby from the Fan Out crew has been helping me get this rig tightened up. It needs some love, so hopefully once I get the new hard drive in and I kind of reconfigure everything, we'll be streaming smooth again. Plus, I have an Ethernet cable on the way, because yes, I am one of those guys that streams wirelessly, because we pay for the good internet. I'm like, dude, if I pay for the good internet, I should get really good internet. And usually I do, but sometimes I also don't. Right now is one of those times that it looks like I don't. So sorry about that. I was looking at a little bit of playback from the Thursday night live stream, and it freezes at the most unopportune times. Like, if I would have been picking my nose or fucking, picking my teeth or some shit, it would have freeze framed on that, as opposed to the one where I'm like smiling right in the middle of the pose. No, it's all like, and it'll freeze up on that. I shouldn't do that, because it's probably going to freeze up on that while I'm showing an impression. Anyways, what's up, Trevor Hoffman? How you doing this morning, man? Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you very much for stopping by, and thank all of you very much for sending little well wishes to King of the Hills 34. Yeah, man. All right. Audio's good, though. Not that big of a deal. Thank you, Patrick McCabe, for letting me know. I realized that when I was watching the playback the other day. I'm like, fuck, even when it does freeze, the audio still keeps on chugging along, so that's cool. All right, so we're going to talk about What If Episode 2. We're going to kind of recap it and share thoughts, feelings, ideas about each of your impressions of the episode. How did it stack up to the first episode? Did you like this version of certain characters? Were there other versions of characters that maybe you didn't care for? I know that it's important to establish that the versions of the characters that we know from the movies that we love are still there, and they're still intact. This is a what-if kind of Elseworld story, and yes, now apparently the multiverse stuff is going to be canon, so at least some version of each of these characters is going to be, canon in some ways, I guess. I don't know. I'm curious to see how we end up playing all this out. But I did want to say that, like, just because this version of Thanos is not, a world conqueror, genocidal maniac, which he still is. He has he's like, it was a pretty good idea. But just because he's not the intimidating force that we know him from the last Infinity Saga doesn't mean that version of Thanos isn't still the bad motherfucker that we know from the movies. However, if you're like, I don't like this version of Thanos because I like that version of Thanos, you know what? That is 100% valid, because we're all allowed to have our own thoughts and feelings and ideas. And as much as I hate to think that everybody doesn't agree with me on everything, I think it is very fair that everybody has their own perspective. And if I'm cultivating any one thing that matters to me in this community, it's that we can value each other's opinions even if we don't agree with them. Like, seldom do I have good opinions, but I've got a lot of opinions, and I share them with you. And that's it. That's the best I can do. And I think you would rather me be honest. I think you would rather me tell you what I really think versus just telling you what you want to hear. Because that means when I do say what you want to hear, it's authentic. And when I don't, it's, I'm not putting on airs. I'm only trying to give you an honest perspective, because there are a lot of places you can go on YouTube to listen to clowns talking about movies, but there's only one place on YouTube where you can listen to this clown talking about movies. The clown with most clowns have big shoes. I have big ass bottles of water, just fucking gigantic bottles of water. Mark McKeever, is the issue more of a hardware thing or your internet service? Yes. I think it's a combination of both. As I mentioned, I have a really good internet, but even good internet's only as reliable as it wants to be that particular day. And then I need some freed up RAM because my hard drive's so close to being at capacity. I don't have a lot of RAM to pull from. That's at least my cursory understanding of the way that this works. But we're going to find out. Hopefully this hardware thing is going to help, and even if it doesn't help performance all that much, at least I won't have to continuously delete gigantic files, because right now I'm like so close to having my SDD full, or my solid state full, that I have to delete video projects from previously. And it's like, if I need to pull part of a project from the last time I recorded or some shit, a lot of times I'll go in there and I've already deleted it. So anyways, very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Colby says Thanos' armor gives him powers in the comics. He definitely he didn't have the armor in this episode. Not sure if they're doing powered armor in the MCU though. If they did, I would say that was pretty lame. What's up, Chris M? Not because the idea of Thanos' armor giving him powers is lame, but just because they've never said a word about it. That would be kind of whack to just be like, oh yeah, well in the comics it gives him more power, and you're just supposed to know that. And it's like, look, dude, I can only spend so much time on Fandom Wiki looking up stuff so that I can be like, oh, actually. So the MCU animated show, this is according to cnet.com, which did a handy dandy little breakdown of the episode for us. That should make it a little bit easier to kind of get through it. So the MCU animated show finds Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa in an exciting alternate reality in one of the late actor's final performances. From what I understand, there are a total of 4 episodes that feature Chadwick Boseman in them. Now, how many of those are Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa as Star-Lord? I'm not really sure. Some of these could be T'Challa in a different context. So I am definitely curious to see what else we get from him. I thought his vocal performance in this was really good, and it was lively. It was nice to see T'Challa in the role of a character that was a little less stoic, a little less reserved, because when I think about Black Panther, unfortunately, what I'm thinking about isn't the dynamic character of T'Challa. I mean, Chadwick Boseman's such a great performer that he was really able to elevate it, but there's not a lot of T'Challa in the writing, right? I mean, it really is the Killmonger show in a lot of ways. So it was nice to see this version of T'Challa be able to have a little bit more fun, be able to play off interesting characters in ways that we've never thought of before. And I really like that. I also like how this version of Star-Lord has the classic Wakanda purple. Like, this is a definitely a T'Challa inspired. The goggles are purple as opposed to their normal red, and that's just a tiny little detail. Also, if you look at his kind of Star-Lord jacket, it's got the Wakanda spiky things that he uses as claws later in the episode, which is cool. So little attention to detail, but it really starts off, I figured, like, I thought it was on Pride Rock, and Mufasa's like, all that the light touches is yours, or some shit. James Earl Jones, dude. King shit. But yeah, dude, so it opens up, and he's, like, giving him the talk, and, you know, T'Challa's, like, an explorer at heart. He's a king, but he's also an explorer, so he's, like, wants to venture out past the Pride Lands, a.k.a. the little... I'm going to get in trouble for comparing the two of these things, but it was a little Lion King, you got to admit. So he goes through the little barrier, and lo and behold, boom, Ravager ship shows up. Taserface and Kraglin, 2 funny Guardians of the Galaxy characters that I was glad to see got a little bit of their shine in this episode, which also really cool to see Sean Gunn as a cartoon character. Sean Gunn is a friend of Pensacon here in the area, so we've all had the pleasure of meeting Sean on multiple occasions at this point, so it was cool to see him as a cartoon character. I'm curious as to what he thought about that. Never met James Gunn, but Sean Gunn, he's out here. Not right now, but often. So anyways, pretty cool to see him as a cartoon character. So Taserface and Kraglin, they accidentally grab this kid up, and they're just like, I don't know, let's take him. And Yondu's like, does this kid look like this kid? And I swear to God, they're like, they all look the same to me. And I just got this big kick out of that for some reason. Just like humans in general, the whole species. And it's like, yeah, but you guys also totally look like humans too. Like, Taserface a little less so, Yondu a little less so, but you know what I mean? Like, Yondu is a person with a blue face. That's like the only difference. Other than that, he's a dude. Yeah, Chris brought that up. Colby Sullivan, fun fact, Ego's egg ship is based on the UFO house on Pensacola Beach. That is true, and that is amazing, and I've actually gotten really stoned in that house before. Super baked. I had a buddy that actually lived there many years ago, and his name was also Shane, and he was like a lifeguard beach services guy, and I would go over there after I got off work at Subway, and it was cool. You know, people are like, what, you've been in there? Yeah, dude, I've been in there. And I was like Interstellar. All right. Anyways, what's going on? Sean Gunn is a cartoon character for real. Yeah, it's actually a reasonable fact. Colby Sullivan, James Gunn was scouting and fell in love with it. They're really, yeah, absolutely. And yes, I've definitely been in there before. So anyways, that's pretty neat. It's kind of funny, though, that they just decide they're going to take him with them. But I guess in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we get a little bit of context as to why. Sorry about that. As to why. As to why what? As to why they took him with them. Because they know that Ego's just killing all the kids. And turns out Yondu has a heart. Or at least they retconned him after Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 1. That was one of the things I thought about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's like, this is a big departure for the character of Yondu. But then we got to look at like Thor and Loki. It's not as if all of the Marvel characters are always treated consistently or something from one movie to the next. But Yondu was definitely not supposed to be daddy boy. He just ended up being the daddy boy. For shame, whoever you are, for shame for not liking this amazing content that I'm putting out here for you. Thank you, TMS SMT. Get these motherfuckers. Yeah, boy. 2 places, actually. Holden's old videos. What am I talking about? Okay, so they take T'Challa with them, and then we kind of cut forward a little bit, and T'Challa has basically spread peace and diplomacy throughout the greater galaxy. Like, it's amazing what a good leader this version of Star-Lord ends up being. Oh, I didn't give the whole thing about it starts off with the same scene as Guardians 1, only T'Challa reveals that it's actually not Peter Quill, and Djimon Hounsou's character, what's his ass? When I see it, I'm going to be able to tell you. Whatever his name is. He's like, oh my God, it's Star-Lord. He's totally like fans out. He's a big fan of this version of Star-Lord. And this version of Star-Lord, his name is still Star-Lord, but it makes sense because he's a Lord, royal title, and he's in the stars. So his mother, instead of his mother giving him the name as Peter's mother did, collectively the galaxy gave him the name of Star-Lord. He doesn't even like the name. He's like, I guess you can call me that. Whereas Peter was like, I'm Star-Lord, man. Everybody's supposed to know who I am. So I kind of thought it was cool. Like, this was a title that was bestowed upon him because of the great work that he did, as opposed to like, I'm just trying to make this thing work, y'all. Like the Be Terrible thing. Like, I'm out here trying. Like, until next time. And they're like, bye? No. It's Be Terrible. You'll catch up. It's fine. Eventually. Christopher Branch in the chat. What's up, buddy? And Nikovic. Oh my God, I'm on fire. Is also here. What's up, you guys? Correct, Colby. It's a different reality. And it is like, I was so hung up just another little detour because that's how my brain works. I'm just like fucking grabbing shit from all over different places. But yeah, when I was doing the Loki series, I was so hung up like, what choice does a person have to make to end up an alligator instead of a person? But then I was like, oh yeah, Frisia knew witches, so some witch at some point in time got mad at Loki, turned him into an alligator, boom, there we go, the divergence in the timeline. Something like that. Point is, it doesn't matter, I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. So we got the whole first thing. What is the name of that character? I'm going to pull it up real quick. Hold music. Insert hold music here. Is that pretty cool? It's a moo point. Oh. Come on, man. When I see it, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah. Korath. Thank you, Mike Gallagher. Yeah, that's the one. Korath. Korath is a huge fanboy of Star-Lord. So he ends up joining them. He ends up becoming a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was fun. Different take on the character for sure, and I enjoyed it. It was kind of neat to see this lineup of the Guardians. Very different team from what we got in the first film because everything's different. So, as you guys know, we're talking spoilers. I'm talking to you as if you've seen the movie or the series. I have a feeling you wouldn't be here otherwise, but just so you know, oh my God. Look who it is. Jason Voorhees in the chat. Did you know we had a Friday the 13th last week? It's Saturday today. Not yesterday, but the previous Friday was the only Friday the 13th of 2021. So I'm imagining our friend Jason Voorhees wasn't able to make the Thursday night stream because he was busy with preparations on how he could continuously be right behind you. No matter how many feet ahead of him you're running, you fall, you turn around, he's there. I learned on Rise of the Mask, on Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, it actually takes a lot of cardio to be able to catch up with a person while they're not paying attention and not seem winded ever. So I know a lot of preparation goes into all of that. Shout out to Jason Voorhees for a job well done every year. Oh, wow. Fan Out Crew. I can't believe Friday the 13th and Halloween are on the same day this year. Wait, what? Same day of the week. Well, yeah, of course. How could... I'm just going to move on. TMS SMT, did you enjoy seeing more of the Collector? I'm curious what happened to him and his collection in the main timeline. All destroyed / killed? Yeah, I thought it was dope. I actually liked it. I like how the What If series has been able to take pre-established and not necessarily well-known characters and turn them into more. Like we saw it with Korath and we saw it with the Collector. And I thought that this version of Collector was fun because I'm such a big fan of Benicio del Toro that I thought he was an eccentric and interesting character that seemed very similar to what we ended up getting with the Grand Master, but it was nice to see a more threatening version of this character because I hear in the comics that he's like powerful or something. I'm like, who in the comic books is not powerful? Can you point to a comic book character? And I know you can, but you know what I mean? To be like, oh yeah, that comic book character is powerful. Well, yeah, they're superheroes or supervillains. Anyways, unsurprisingly, T'Challa is a whole lot better at being a Lord of the Stars than Peter was. Duh. I mean, that totally makes sense, but he ends up making it to where the Ravagers are like the merry men, and he's Robin Hood, so he's stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, which, let's be honest, that's kind of what the Guardians do anyways, but they're more like kind of ruffian. They don't like, oh, we're getting a distress signal. Well, who cares? Well, maybe we'll get something out of them for helping them. All right, cool, let's go. So like very acting in their self-interest, but still ultimately very heroic. These guys are a little bit more outwardly heroic. And T'Challa even manages to convince Thanos to abandon his plan to wipe out half the universe's population, though he still reckons it would have been efficient. I really, really liked that. I love the idea that Thanos, even though he's not the Mad Titan that we all know and love, he still thinks he had a pretty good idea. And a lot of people are like, Thanos is right. Hashtag Thanos is right. Well, because of this magical MacGuffin that I don't have the name of it in front of me right now, but it can terraform a planet. Terraforming means bring life to a planet, and he was able to create more resources to go around. So he's like, you don't have to wipe everything out. We can just make more, which is what, I swear to God, this is what I said. Go back and watch Holden Hardman on YouTube. You may have heard of him. He's got a video where we were talking about Thanos' plan. And I said, why do you have to destroy half of the world? You could just make twice the resources. And I've got these people, man. My favorite people, by the way. You know what I mean? The best kind of people coming out of the woodwork and be like, actually, you couldn't do that because you can't make matter out of nothing. It was said in Doctor Strange. And it's like, well, technically, you can do whatever the fuck you want as long as you've got a good MacGuffin or a good Deus Ex Machina. You get either one of those things, it's like a writer's free pass to do anything. Or a reality stone, dude, you can do whatever you want. You can change the rules. It's happened millions of times. So anyways, I was like, you could just make twice the thing. And they're like, don't you understand that if you make twice the resources, people would just use twice the resources? You're dumb. You don't understand the way the world works. And I'm just like, you can't travel through space. Why do all the aliens speak English? You're trying to come at me with logic when we're talking about magic and fantasy world, or what I perceive as magic is actually just really advanced science or something. You know what I mean? Anyways, you guys, not you here in the chat, if you are watching this video and you were one of those people that was like, you were wrong, sucker, and it feels good. It feels so good to say it. Oh man, I'm glad that I finally got that off my chest. I feel like I just took a 5-pound shit. Anyways. Denia Dancer, I just watched this episode now. It was amazing. Well, welcome to the conversation. I'm glad you did stop by. The Embers, that's right, Christopher Branch, thank you. The Embers, that was the name of the magical MacGuffin. Let me see. I'll go back a little bit because I know I've been talking for a minute. So do these episodes not connect with each other, says Mark McKeever? Do you think that this show is a byproduct of the Loki series, all the different realities that developed at the end of Loki? They do connect with each other, though we haven't seen that yet. The show is definitely a byproduct of the Loki series, and I think the perfect follow-up. So yeah, I think this is the ideal place to go. Nick Mayfield, what's you say when you saw Cap's shield? Yeah. Okay, apparently the Collector just wiped out everybody, that's cool. Captain Carter is going to be a big part of the series, and others will cross over as well. Yeah, Agent Carter is going to be in multiple episodes, and as I mentioned, Chadwick Boseman's in 4 of the 8 episodes or 9 episodes, so there's definitely going to be some crossover. I'm excited to see how that works out. I love people are like, they're building to an Avengers level episode. I'm like, yeah, only they're doing it in 2 months instead of 10 years. I mean, it's kind of the same, I guess. Or not 10 years. What was it? 4 years? Anyways, man, I can't help it. I know I'm a troll. I know you're not supposed to. Don't go low. Never go low. People don't want to hear you make fun of people. I want you to be super nice. And that's why I set the bar low, man. That's why every time you guys come here, I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. Just so you know that. Don't expect much from me. Because I'm going to go in. Because it's funny to me. That's why. Oh, hell. Thank you for coming by, Denia. Hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong. Fan out crew. Love it. TMS SMT, very valid also. That's kind of what I was thinking. You could also just turn random asteroids and space junk into resources. It's not like there's no matter. Yes, there is lots of matter out there in the galaxy that's not being utilized for anything of any real value. I mean, look how many dead planets are even out there, you know? Plus, Thanos had the gauntlet. He could have made plenty of food or whatever. Yeah. Or more worlds for people to inhabit. Arguing about comic book movies is stupid. Imagine how stupid it would be if OnlyFans banned porn. Yes, comparable. Like, what kind of maniac alternate universe would we be living in where people would actually ban porn from OnlyFans? Nick Mayfield, get it out, Jeremy. Get it out. Christopher Branch, wizards with hats. Oh my God, I'm on fire. Physics don't matter. No, but they do like have theoretical physicists that consult with them on the movies, and that's all cute, but it's theoretical physics. It's theoretical. And again, when you are the master of the universe because you're the one with the pen or keyboard in this case, you get to decide. Like, we are the watcher, right? Somebody asked me the other day, and I thought it was actually a pretty cool question. They were like, are we the watcher or is the watcher watching us also? And I always kind of thought of it as like, we are the watcher. More specifically, the screenwriters are the watcher because they have dominion over all of this. That's actually very much what I thought this version of Kang the Conqueror was. And I said it in my reaction to it, is like, oh, in a way, Kang is writing the script, so he gets to decide what the prime timeline is. It's all very meta, and I actually really appreciate that. Let's see. TMS, SMT, Tiny Ant-Man still retaining normal size Paul Rudd's strength, but Giant Ant-Man somehow getting super strong. It's a really good point. Yeah, it would be silly if Gigantic Ant-Man didn't have the same strength. Did have the same strength as regular size Ant-Man. That would be a trip. Patrick McCabe, Neil deGrasse Tyson cringes every time he watches a superhero movie, but he still enjoys them. Yeah, you don't have to like believe it as a religion to have fun with it. And I think that's one of the things that I bump into people with is like, some people have a very deep reverence for this fiction. And I respect it. I mean, I love movies. That's the whole thing. It's the whole point of all of this. But I also am aware that I am not movie. Like, you can make fun of movie and me not be hurt by it because I am not movie. Some people think they are movie, and when I'm like, the first Eternals trailer was boring, but the second one isn't. Imagine thinking the first Eternals trailer was boring. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. I mean, it was the most exciting fucking trailer I've ever seen. Jason Voorhees, they should have started with this episode, not Captain Carter. I respect that. I kind of agree as well. Denaya says, I love Nebula's look. I would like to see her like this in the next Guardians movie. Yeah, I did too. She was very much the James Bond femme fatale, and I love that they played her that way intentionally so that the double cross was even more meaningful, and then the triple cross was even more like subversion of expectations, and I think that's what If has done very well. It's just like, forget what you think you know, toss it out the window, because we're doing something different here, something dramatically different and creative, and I love that. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think that to see different versions of these characters that's what I'm excited about. Let's see. Nick Mayfield says he saw an episode order outline, and if that's true, then the next episode is dealing with Loki. I thought I saw something about Doctor Strange in the next one, but don't hold me to that because I'm not sure. But that would be cool. Either way, I'm super excited about it. TMS SMT, I'm in love with Amy Pond, so I wish she just appeared here as totally human rather than mostly machine. I'm not familiar with that. I guess I need to Google that. Amy Pond. Nick Mayfield, crap. She looks so nice because Thanos wasn't his evil self and taking her apart her whole life. Kind of sad thought. Yeah. Nebula was fire. Big fan of that. Fan of that for sure. Giant man with TDK's power. That would be pretty good. The detachable kid. I said detractable last time. I don't even know what that means. Mark McKeever says, Howard the Duck casting of Seth Green makes my nerdy self so proud. Damn genius since Guardians 2014. Love that they use Howard the Duck in the MCU now, man. How great is that? Like, the second Howard showed up, I'm like, all right, this is officially probably my favorite episode now. And I love that he shows up for like a minute. He gets left in the bar, like, almost immediately. I got a big kick out of that. I was like, oh, there's Howard the Duck. Oh, there goes Howard the Duck. Thank you, Fan Out Crew. I agree. Pretty sure even the editor thought the first Eternals trailer was boring. I think you're right, because I felt like the second one was like we heard you the first time, so we're gonna give you what you actually want. Here's a little bit of information to fill you in, and I appreciated it. I know that trailers don't have to give you the whole plot away and shouldn't have to show the best stuff in it, but it's totally a trailer's job to like show you enough to compel you to want to go to the theater. And I just the Marvel logo was enough to compel me to want to go to the theater. Like, let's be honest, just the fact that it's Marvel, I would go even without seeing a trailer. But if I'm judging the trailer, it didn't work all that well for me. I still assumed the movie would have still assumed the movie was going to be good, but the trailer itself didn't work for me. And that's why I really liked this recent trailer, because it did excite me about wanting to go to the theater. So job well done. OG Larry 420, love it. If he doubles the resources, it would work for a while, but eventually the population would use them up and be in the same situation, and then you just use the embers of magic again. Or you use the reality stone, or I get where you're coming from, and you're absolutely right. You give somebody more, they use more. Like, that's the same reason rich people often carry the same amount of, like, percentage-wise of debt as poor people. It's because you acclimate your lifestyle to the available resources, and then you overuse regardless. But I'm just saying it doesn't matter, because there's not a world in which any of this stuff happens in the first place, you know? Like, that's the thing. It's like, we can't hold on to some kernels of like, oh, this is unrealistic. This is unrealistic. Yeah, Tony can have a magical armor suit that comes out of a little thingy in his chest, or put on a pair of sunglasses and it turn into a fucking rocket ship or whatever, but that is where I draw the line. That is the thing. Amy Pond is Karen's character on Doctor Who. Oh, okay. So she was a, what do they call them? They're doctors and Scotties? Familiars, what do they call it? It's a doctor and, I don't remember, but I hear Doctor Who's pretty cool. I've watched the Christopher Eccleston season 1 of the relaunch of Doctor Who, and I hear the David Tennant stuff's really good, but there's just a lot of stuff to keep up with out there. But Whovians seem to be pretty cool people. Everybody that I talk to that's into Doctor Who, like really into it, just very nice people. Wonder if there's any assholes that are like, Doctor Who's my favorite, you fucking dork. I want to hang out with that guy. Doctor Who's the shit, you fucking nerd. Fucking pour milk out on your head in the cafeteria. Slap your lunch tray out of your hand. Fucking Doctor Who's so much better than you, you fuck. Give you a wedgie, you fuck. Hey, Daryl in the chat. What's up? Yeah, companion. That's right. Not familiar. Yeah, man. Hey, Jason Voorhees said he thought the next episode was about Tony Stark. So it's either about Tony Stark, Loki, or Doctor Strange. Fuck. Hey, for all I know, they're all three in the same episode, and we could all be right. Smart money, though, is that I am incorrect, and that one of you guys are more likely to be correct than me. Because I didn't even know that reality stones couldn't alter reality. You know what I mean? Oh, hell no. Oh my God, I'm on fire. Also with Ant-Man, it explained that Pym particles just move atoms and particles closer together. So when he's small, he's still a 190-pound man. So Tony shouldn't be able to flick him. Boons. Let's see. They were holding back on Eternals. Yeah, or by that same logic, like he shouldn't be able to ride on ants. It should just, just take them straight to the fucking ground. It's a really strong ant to be able to carry a person. Yeah, didn't really think about it. Never occurred to me because it never mattered to me. And it's just like, all right, let's go for a ride. It doesn't have to make sense. Eddie Dave's in the chat. What's up, dude? It is a pretty day outside. I'm going to go out there and take advantage of the warm weather here in just a little bit. German Rifter, what's up, my man? 2-minute movie trailers give away too much, in my opinion. That's why I only watch teasers these days. I think that's a very smart move, German Rifter. And I watched the trailer for Don't Breathe 2 by mistake. There were like several times that it played that I like averted my eyes because I was like, oh, this is showing way too much. And then when I saw the movie, like, yeah, horror movie trailers are the worst about it. They show you everybody that gets killed to the second of impact. It's like Michael Myers bringing down the knife on one of the characters, but then it cuts away at the last second. You're like, oh, I guess maybe they made it out of that? So then when you see him in the movie, you're like, oh no, this person's totally fucking dead because I learned all about it in the 2-minute trailer because they cut it together like, here's the intro. This is the action. Here's the resolution. Do you want to see the movie? I just did. Thank you. Cool. Now I know what happened because I've seen movies before. Oh, TMS, SMT, the anti-woke Doctor Who fans are pretty bad. Yeah, I'm sure they're fucking awful. I'm sure they're the worst. Yes, fan out crew. Couldn't agree more. Nerds won the earth and now we're the bullies. Yes, now we gatekeep each other if you're not nerdy enough, you know? Like, oh, you normie, you don't even know how to speak Klingon, you fucking dork. Oh, the world's a crazy place, man. I'm just glad to be here. You know what I mean? Just glad to be here. Disney has the problem of over-promoting a movie, says Mark McKeever. Sans upcoming Spider-Man film. Yeah, it's very true. We're like 2 months out, 3 months out, and still don't have a trailer for it. A little bit more than that, but it's getting close now to not have any. But I do strongly believe that they just don't want to stack too many marketing campaigns on top of each other. You know what I mean? Like you do one at a time, 2 at a time in this case. But if you've got people hyped up about a movie that comes out in December, are they going to forget about the one that comes out in November? So like, I think the second that Shang-Chi gets released, we're going to start getting hit really heavy with the Eternals marketing. And then when Eternals hits, we're going to start getting hit really hard with the Spider-Man marketing. Coming from a place of just speculation though. OG Larry 420, yeah, they just have to use hacks indie and make more resources again. Oh well, Thanos is wrong with his plan anyway. Yeah, you know, the conversation is always fun. I enjoy the conversation. That's what we're here for, man. Hey, speaking of which, if you're in the live right now and you did not click the thumbs up button, do me a favor, take just a second to do that. It doesn't cost you a dime and it helps support the channel every time. So do me a favor, take a second, smash that little thumbs up button. Thanks so much. Let's see. Fan out crew, ants can lift 50 times their weight, and then TMS SMT 50 times a gram is still only 50 grams. Yeah, man. There's a trailer I watched the other day with Aubrey Plaza, or Plax, but I think you meant Aubrey Plaza. I like her, man. Let's see. Gotta remember Spider-Man is a Sony movie, so blame them, not Disney. That's a very good point. Sorry, Plaza and Michael Caine. Oh, man, we all love Michael Caine. Haven't seen Michael Caine in a movie in too long. It was hilarious. The trailer basically told the whole film story. Well, I'll skip that one. Thank you for the heads up. TMS SMT, Spider-Man must be packed with obvious spoilers, and that's why they're waiting for a trailer. That's also possible. Patrick McCabe, Spidey-Man 3. If Spidey 3 doesn't break the box office doldrums, I don't know what will. The hype is crazy. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot to be hype about, dude. That's exciting. Thank you for the couple of likes. I appreciate y'all. It looks like we got 20 viewers in here and 18 likes. I'm pretty good with that ratio. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so back to the lecture at hand. The Mad Titan chills out. He says, I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong. T'Challa here showed me that there was way more than one way to reallocate the universe's resources. Sounds like socialism, T'Challa. Why don't you go back to Africa with that? Just kidding. Obviously, since Thanos, I think socialism is a pretty good idea. Since Thanos' machinations in his quest for the Infinity Stone shaped so much of the MCU timeline, this rewrites much of what we knew. Still, there's friction between him and his adoptive daughter Nebula, though. Was Nebula still being rebuilt by Thanos? Is that why she had the one thing? Is like he was kind of bad, but like he didn't go all the way? Yeah, I've been hearing good things about Shang-Chi, excuse me. Shang-Chi, not Shang-Chi. All right, Caleb, if you're watching, which you're not. T'Challa also saved Drax's homeworld from Kylos, saved his homeworld Kylos from a Kree invasion, so his wife and daughter are still alive. They were killed by Ronan the Accuser in the original timeline, so he's working as a bartender. It says Dave Bautista played Drax in this episode, but he did not. So you're wrong there, CNET. Unfortunately, there seems to be some contention there. He said he never got a phone call to voice the character that he absolutely would have. And I was like, well, maybe it's just such a minor role, but there are other voice actors who have done just as minor roles as what Drax got in this, and they were actually still the original actors. But Dave Bautista has been very vocal on social media, for good and bad. He was very like, I'm not returning for Guardians unless they get James Gunn back. He said they never called him about a solo movie when the Black Widow movie was released and was a bomb. So it's like, Dave, shut the fuck up. Just stop talking, bro. You talk too much and it's affecting your career. But if anybody has any information on that or understands why it is that that Dave Bautista was not used or cast in this, let me know. Jason Voorhees says, what a wuss Thanos became. Yeah, man, for sure. So that's pretty cool that T'Challa saved Drax's homeworld. It's just like T'Challa just did everything right, but somehow throughout all of this, yeah, Mark, I can't wait to hear what you actually thought about it. You're like having to bite your tongue for a long time before you're even able to discuss what it is that you thought about it. Unless you want to make a review for my channel, we'll put it up. I'll split the profits with you. Just throwing it out there, man. You know, and when you split 1,000 views 2 ways, that's easily 4 cents for each of us. If that. Like 3 cents. 3 cents and some, like, fractions of a cent. I'll round up. I'll take the high. You know what I mean? Like, if it's 3.75 cents, I'll take 2 cents. You'll get the 1.75 cents. I don't know. We'll work it out. It's just spitballing here. Rise of the Collector. So it turns out that Tanalier Tivan, I don't know, the Collector, filled the power vacuum left by Thanos' reformation. He even recruited the Black Order, Thanos' goons in the original timeline, to act as his security. Not gonna lie, when I saw Proxima Midnight in this episode, I was like, oh shit, it's the Black Order. That's really cool. And Carrie Coon actually plays Proxima Midnight, like it's the same cast of the Black Order. So it's just crazy. It feels like Batista's like the only one in this episode that wasn't the original voice. If there's another one, let me know. Okay, the name of this MacGuffin that we called the Embers that Chris fortunately pointed out to me a little bit ago, the Embers, where are they at? Embers of Genesis. So yeah, basically the Garden of Eden just bursting out from wherever you put this nutrient-rich cosmic dust that can fix up dying planets or feed billions of people on millions of worlds. Nebula wants to steal the Embers by pretending to offer the orb T'Challa recovered on Morag, which turns out to be a cover story though. The Collector also sought to purchase the orb in the original timeline, where it was obtained by Peter in his quest to gather the Infinity Stones. The orb acted as a containment device for the dangerous Power Stone. And And obviously, the Collector's got this crazy collection of weapons. At one point, he like opens up his, like in movies, they've got the gun closet. You open up the doors and there's like all these guns and shit. In this, it's like Cap, shield, Korg's arm somehow. Like he wears Korg's arm as a gauntlet at one point, which I thought was kind of weird. He's got Hela's helmet with the blades. He's got there's a bunch of stuff. I can't even tell you what all of it was. It looks like he had Malekith's dagger from the Dark World. Mjolnir, Cap's shield. So I guess this means that the Collector just wiped out a few of the Avengers on his rise to power. Which I could see how that would bother some people that are like, I don't understand how the Collector could beat fill in the blank character Thor. Thor's a god. How could the Collector beat Thor? Hela was a god. And I don't know. I guess the big takeaway is the Collector would have beat him earlier, but his arm was super Thor from wielding Korg's. It's a little joke, little play on words there. So Ego ends up triumphant because he shows up back on Earth in this timeline where Peter was never abducted as a kid. So he's working at Dairy Queen, which is cool. Not that he works at Dairy Queen, but that this version of Star-Lord just kind of ends up some very, not a powerful person, I guess. I don't want to say anything disparaging about any work. It's not like I've got the crazy best job in the world, but you get what I'm saying. He's not out there plotting the stars, but Ego finds him. He shows up and he's like, hey, boy, let's go do some space stuff. And Peter's like, all right, kind of. I mean, that's paraphrasing here, but he says at the end, the Watcher's like, too bad this might spell the end of the world, but that's a story for another day. So I'm wondering if Ego is going to be the big villain of the What If universe, and this kind of sets those events into motion. So now we are going to get the crossover with Peggy Carter, who's now in this current timeline as a member of the Avengers, and then we've got T'Challa out there with his group of people. I think that's the direction where we're going, but I'm not 100% sure, because if you think about it, the first episode ended and Red Skull was no more. The second episode, Collector, the big bad, he's no more. Who's left? Well, we've got Ego. Why would it end with a spoiler that's not going to carry over to the next episodes? Just curious. The Cat Drums 3, what's up, man? He says, DQ, that's what I like about Texas. I got a Dairy Queen up the road, man. They are pretty good. Jack Vanderoff says, wait, that really, that makes sense. Never put two and two together. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I believe what we're talking about being a good point. Fan Out Crew said this one definitely takes place in a different reality than the first because it was Steve's shield, not Carter's shield. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That would be weird if it was a faux pas of some kind. Maybe there was another Captain America. Maybe just because Steve did. I don't know. I'm kind of reaching now. That's some good water. Should have worked at Baskin Robbins instead. They always find out. It would be cool if Peter ended up being like the big hero of the series, kind of as a redemption thing, because so many people were upset with him because of his screw up in the Avengers movies. However, to Doctor Strange's point, like that had to happen for everything else to work out the way it did. So Peter actually kind of helped save the world, even though he punched Thanos all in the face while he was under Mantis's control. So the Celestials are an ancient race that can manipulate matter and energy, and Ego wanted to expand his consciousness to assimilate the entire universe, but needed the power of a second Celestial to do so. So he impregnated women of many species to create one, but Peter was the only one who inherited Ego's powers. In the original MCU timeline, Yondu kept Peter away from Ego after realizing the malevolent Celestial was slaughtering his offspring in his quest for a suitable child. Ego tracked down his son in Guardians 2, but Peter managed to resist after the stupid Celestial admitted he killed his mother. Yeah, it was not I killed your mom. She was a weak bitch. The cancer rate her up. Now join my team. No. No. I might have. But you screwed up, man. So, yeah. Not the best convincing thing. Just if you're ever trying to get somebody to join your side and you happen to kill their mother, leave that out of the negotiation process. All right, look, we offer 401k, get dental, retirement, and I killed your mom. Whoa. What was that last part you said? What, 401k? No. The part where you said you killed my mom. Oh, yeah, but do you want the job? Well, no. No, I do not. Why not? We said we offer 401k. Yo, shit. It sucks that I gotta laugh at my own jokes, man. I wish I didn't have to do that. They're just so funny. Mark McKeever, as much as I love Jeffrey Wright, I picture the Watcher's voice being a tad more ominous. I could see that, Mark. I don't see the Watcher as a nefarious presence, though. And I may be wrong, but I always thought the Watchers were just kind of, what's that word? They're not benign. They're not malevolent. They're just like indifferent. Like they don't concern themselves with alliances or anything like that because they're just kind of like spectators. So I don't know, but to each their own. I think that's completely valid. Just for me, I think Jeffrey Wright's good for it. But noted, respected, understood. We're still friends. Let's move along. Let's see. TMS SMT says he doesn't care about his mother. Dang, dude. That's really messed up. You said that. It's really messed up. Oh, shit. So did Ego get a ticket because he was parked illegally? Excuse me. I think they're playing with the Watcher's audio a bit too much. It's hard to understand sometimes. Interesting. Did not notice that. Hate to say it. What TMS SMT actually said is he would have taken the powers from the celestial power from Ego. The Catdrum said you had me at dental. Patrick McKay, but just wanted to watch Westworld every time the Watcher talks. Westworld, man, had so much potential, and the production design is goddamn gorgeous, but the writing just thought it was a little too smart for its own good. And I hear that's kind of the case with Reminiscence, which I thought that movie looked incredibly grown up and sexy and good, but it got like a 35 on Rotten Tomatoes. For what it's worth, The Night House, though, I'll let you guys know, The Night House is really, really good. It's not a scary movie, but it's, man, Rebecca Hall's performance from Iron Man 3. Rebecca Hall's performance is in itself a reason to see this movie. It's not as good as Toni Collette in Hereditary, but we're talking like just very, very masterclass performance by Rebecca Hall in the Night House. But anyways, here's a couple of observations, WTF questions, and Easter eggs, and then we'll carry on the conversation a little bit more. So let's see. Jack says, it's kind of like Viltrumites, if any of you have seen Invincible. Yes, maybe humans are most compatible with Celestial for continuing offspring. I love Invincible, by the way. When I saw Viltrumites, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but yeah, that's totally what Omni-Man's race of aliens are, his Superman. That show is badass. It's like The Boys, but animated and even more gory. And actually, when I was watching The Suicide Squad, I wasn't really thinking about those two, but like in terms of violence and just gore, I feel like it was very much on par with what Seth Rogen and Adam Goldberg are doing with Preacher, with The Boys, with the Amazon stuff. So it's not as if this is the only Suicide Squad's the only gory superhero shit out there. Actually, James Gunn's Super had a pretty gnarly shot, we'll say, in it. But that's a whole different conversation. So Jeffrey writes Jim Gordon, and next year's the Batman Mark McKeever's looking for. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think the word you're looking for is voyeur for the Watchers, says TMS SMT. Yeah. That's the one. Refusing the power doesn't save mom, says TMS SMT. Yeah, you lucked out with a technicality there, buddy. No, you're right. It wouldn't have made a difference. That's a good point. At that point, it was already way too late, so it's not as if it would have saved her. They're just sort of there. Yeah. We're not 100% sure over here that the Batman is actually a movie, Nick Mayfield. It might just be all an elaborate stunt. I was reading some funny articles, man. I got to pull them up, but I'll do it on a different stream. It's so funny, dude. Some guy was reporting that Robert Pattinson impregnated Zoe Kravitz on the Batmobile on set of the movie. It's so obviously just like either like fanfic or like a troll, but people like ran with it. Oh my God. Did you know? No, I didn't know. The episode is dedicated to our friend, our inspiration, and our hero, Chadwick Boseman. He died in August of 2020 at 43, and we'll hear his vocal performance in 4 episodes of What If. So that day in August of 2020, I was doing a live stream, of all things, on John Knight, the Film Cave. We were doing a live stream. We were doing Marvel trivia. Prime was there. I was there. A whole bunch of other YouTubers, reactors and stuff were there. And during the middle of the stream, I mean, we were like an hour and a half into what was probably going to end up like an 8-hour stream, like a long time, but people started getting notifications. Oh my God, this can't be true. This isn't happening. What happened? Holy shit. And then somebody says, oh, Random Andy's channel in the chat. What's up, bro? Chadwick Boseman just died, and everybody's like trying to confirm. And when we found out, we were all just like stuck. Like, how do you process something like that when we're all together, probably 30 people, maybe 20 people all together to share our love of Marvel movies? Like, literally, the reason why I do movie reviews in the first place is because I fell in love with pop culture, nerd culture, because of the MCU, and I saw the way it brought people together. Like, for the longest time, the things that brought me together with people weren't always the best things, whether it be music is a cool common interest, but along with music comes a lot of other things that maybe aren't so cool. So to find a community of like-minded people that just kind of celebrated things that they loved about culture and like weren't ashamed to just be enthusiastic about stuff, that was super fucking cool. So to think like, I wouldn't be here without, I mean, I'd be here on Earth, but I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if it wasn't for the MCU. So, like, if anybody thinks I don't care about this stuff, like, it's made a huge positive impact in my life, and not just mine, because I was sharing in this moment with all these other people who were probably there for similar reasons. So it was just like a collective mourning, and as sad as it was like kind of cool to be a part of that still, because we got to do it together, I guess. Anyways, that's a little heavier than usual, but what's up, Jordan? How you doing, man? Random Andy's channel. Let's see. TMS SMT, are you Lord of the Rings fan? Are you looking forward to the Amazon series? I can't remember if you mentioned it in the past or if that was something someone else was hyped about. It's probably your number one upcoming. Love Lord of the Rings. I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. It's my favorite trilogy of all time. I actually like all the Middle Earth stuff, and thought the Hobbit movies had some really gorgeous stuff in it mixed with some really not awesome stuff in it. But I love Peter Jackson. I love Tolkien's work, and I can't wait to see the Amazon series. I'm curious if they're going to skew more family oriented or if they're going to skew more Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones audience. I don't want my Lord of the Rings to be Game of Thrones, especially because HBO's giving us more Game of Thrones content, more George R.R. Martin, Westeros stuff. I feel like Lord of the Rings should always be like gateway fantasy. And then people that want to dig into Witcher and Game of Thrones as they grow, they should be able to do that. But my gateway into fantasy was the Rankin Bass 1970s animated The Hobbit. and I loved it. Just wore it out on VHS. And then the Lord of the Rings with the rotoscoping in it. So that was like my gateway into fantasy, and movies like Dragon Slayer and even Beastmaster. A lot of good shit from then. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the fantasy genre. Mark McKeever broke that Batman scoop, Jared. Oh, that is right. I forgot. You mean rob at bat and bet. Oh, yeah. Fan out crew, I still don't think I'm over Chadwick's passing. I was there watching that with you. You were so damn stunned, bro, as others were, but you were speechless. That's in regards to the live stream. Yeah, it was crazy. Let's see. Yeah, it was beautiful. I agree. Oh my God, I'm on fire. Random Andy's channel. I remember that video. I was actually fiddling with my phone when the news broke while watching that vid, and I heard a ruckus going on. I found out from you guys on that vid. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. That's crazy. TMS SNT. I was at a urinal and someone had written that he died on the wall, and that's how I found out. That's wild, dude. In Random Andy's channel, the Before trilogy is fantastic, but there was something like transformative about seeing Lord of the Rings on the big screen. That was even before Spider-Man. Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man, was also a really huge, like, defining moment in my fandom. I can remember several of them. It was like 1989 Batman, of course. Seeing the special edition Star Wars in the movie theaters in 1997 and 1998, I think. Seeing the Phantom Menace opening night at the theaters, Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings, Independence Day, Jurassic Park. Those were other like really big ones for me that I saw in the theater and was like, oh wow, like movies matter, dude. This is crazy. So yeah, there was a couple little defining moments in my life where I really fell even more in love with movies. When I was in 8th grade, I took an advanced art class because I was pretty good at illustrating, and the teacher showed us Jaws and Alien as almost like a deconstruction of the filmmaking process. So watching both of those movies through a completely different perspective than I had previously, like, opened up the world of film criticism for me, for better or worse. But yeah, so if you ask, Jaws and Alien are definitely, top 5, top 10 favorite movies simply because of that. So yes, German Rifter, you are correct. They did not film the Lord of the Rings series in New Zealand, which is a bummer. And I know that this is not this is never going to make somebody appreciate Lord of the Rings more, but if I'm not mistaken, there were some serious incidents on the set of the original Lord of the Rings, which granted, they did a lot of filming there. There were a lot of people involved, but I think there were some mudslides that might have been devastating to some of the livestock that they had in the area. There were some conflicts between it, but yes, New Zealand is on the world stage in a way that it never was prior to Lord of the Rings, simply because of that movie. So the fact that they're not filming there is a little bit of a disappointment. On the positive side, somebody somewhere is getting work out of it, and that's always a good thing, Incorrect, fan out crew. Incorrect. Yeah, you're actually right as well. TMS SMT, they did do some filming there, but they just moved to the UK. Especially with COVID, filming in New Zealand, probably a huge pain. Let's see. New Zealand goes into full lockdown, which is why it's a problem there, but also means getting in and out for filming is nearly impossible. That makes sense. I totally understand the aliens over alien thing. I get it 100%. I would say Aliens might be a more entertaining movie, certainly a more entertaining rewatch, but there's just so much like fucking filmmaking in that original Alien. It's a much more moody, atmospheric, and methodical movie. It's like if 2001 Space Odyssey were a gothic haunted house movie. That's how I always think of it. It takes its time, man. All those establishing shots at the beginning when it's just kind of setting up the interior of the Nostromo, and everybody comes out of cryo, and it's just like it's a mood, man. It's a mood. I love that movie. But I also love Aliens for different reasons. You got game over, man, and get away from her, you bitch. Like, there's some iconic shit in Aliens for sure. I like the lady that's all painted up brown. That's probably my favorite part of the movie. What's her name? Ruiz? I don't think that's right, but good old brown face. Oh, shit, man. It was, different time. But she was actually really good in Near Dark also, which is a Catherine Bigelow directed movie, who was married to James Cameron for a period of time. And a lot of the cast members, including Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, and lady who I can't remember her name, are all like a family of vampires. It's like a Western vampire movie. It's the shit. Yeah, I do. I love Alien 3, but it's not a good movie. No question about it. Vasquez, that's right. That's the one. Ruiz, whatever. Close enough. Brown face. If you got an Ant-Man... Okay, let's see. Our first glimpse of Star-Lord T'Challa on Morag mirrors our introduction to Peter Quill in the first episode. Which it does. Oops. Where are my scenes at? Oops. It's in here somewhere. Whoops. Where's my shit at? Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. Skip forward a little bit. So yeah, this first scene right here, obviously very reminiscent of the first movie. Same shots and everything, but our first glimpse of T'Challa on Morag mirrors our introduction to Peter Quill in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Kree Hunter Korath was dismissive of Peter, but fanboys over T'Challa ends up joining him. We talked a little bit about that. It's like, oh shit, it's the Star-Lord. Hey. The character design is so Disney. The animation style, when they like, one of their eyes closes like upward a little bit, or like, if you know the Disney house style, I think it's very apparent in the way that they're doing this art. I personally think the art style is beautiful in this. Caleb does not agree. The Cat Drums 3 do not agree. And I think I get it. I think I can understand. It is a very refined. It's very sleek. And I can imagine that not working for some people. But I love that the highlights are blown out and that the cell shading is like, there's not a lot of different like color gradients going on. It's very dramatic lights and darks. And Mark McKeever actually pointed out how similar to the first Superman animated series it is. And I totally see it. Like after he said that and looking at it, it's like the white causes diffusion. And diffusion kind of creates that ethereal glow off of an image. If you look at movies from the 1970s that take place during the daytime, you'll see it a whole lot. I think diffusion is also like one of your settings on Instagram, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's a cool look, and it kind of creates that hazy look around the highlights. Fan Out Crew says it's an acquired taste. Patrick McCabe thought Caleb was coming in like CM Punk for a second. Yeah, all of a sudden, theme music starts playing, and he comes fucking running in, hits me with a chair. What else? Let's see. So if you got an Ant-Man vibe from the heist elements, it might be due to the elements that sound like Roy Ayers' Escape, the music that plays during Lewis's incredible stories being worked into the score when Nebula explains their plan to take Embers to their Triple Cross later on. Did not realize that. That's pretty cool. So when Louise, I said Lewis, sorry, wasn't realizing what we were talking about yet. When Louise tells the stories, so I was like, and then it goes into the thing, and that music that sets up the whole story, they use that same music when Nebula is breaking down the heist plan here. That's pretty cool. Did not realize that was a thing. Um, TMS SMT, I am not familiar, but now I'm very curious about it. The use of blending music is amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize that, but I do like that a lot. Now I'm gonna have to go back and check it out because I am a fan of, like you can probably tell, I'm a big fan of the illustration or the animation side of it. I like the technical shit. I like the scores. A lot of times though, as a result of that, I'll miss out on just like really basic story stuff because I almost just in my head I'm like, when I hear embers of life or whatever, Genesis embers, I just think Ark of the Covenant, you know what I mean? Whatever the thing is. What was that thing in Star Wars that Rey, like the third Star Wars movie? It was never in anything before, but it's in Rise of Skywalker. And they're like, oh, you got to get that little sword thing that's going to like line up with the horizon. Like whatever that thing was called. You get what I'm saying though. Star Wars Visions is the 9 Star Wars anime shorts. That's the one Caleb was talking about the other night. I think. The Wayfinder. Yeah, that's the one. Helps you find the way. You know, the Wayfinder. How you going to find your way without the Wayfinder? Love the Animatrix. That was one of my favorites. Oh, look at that freeze frame. With my mouth full of water. It's just silly looking. I just saw myself in playback. If I just hold really still, maybe it'll be all right. Yeah, I'm losing people. It's the video sucks, but we're gonna get through it, you guys. Starting next stream, hopefully it'll be a whole new world as far as all of that stuff goes. Let's move on to the next. What happened to Gamora in this reality? That's a good question. I was wondering where Gamora was at. In Rocket, we don't get any Rocket, Groot, Gamora. None of them are around. None of our key guardians. She's visible on the poster for the series for What If, sporting the Thanos Avengers armor. And looking very cool indeed. Yeah, because she has like the helicopter blade. Yeah, she's looking like Thanos. She's looking like a badass. Maybe they are going to establish that the armor gives them the power. To your point, Colby, that would be a great place to do it. If that's Gamora from the universe, it's possible she took up his quest for the Infinity Stones. Ethernet cable I don't have on the way yet. I was thinking about going to Best Buy to just grab one. I was actually looking around my place for one as well. Like the fact that I don't have one Ethernet cable around here is really fucking weird. So I'm either going to get it here. I might drive up to the mall to get it. We'll see. Do I need it? Yeah, I understand not really caring for animation. It's definitely not for everyone. Andy, we definitely will. I don't think today is going to be the day because of all of the latency issues, but I would like to get back into that because that was really fun. And I was just thinking, like, what a cool thing that is to be able to have the audience send me links, not having any idea what they are, and clicking it and watching it in real time with you guys. That was a blast. It ended up being a big problem with all the copyrighted material, which is why the last one's not even available. So if I get copyrighted material, I'm just going to have to skip over it. But yeah, that was a blast. Would love to continue doing that. Just got to kind of work out a couple of kinks to make sure that it goes off without a hitch and that I'm actually able to keep it on my channel afterwards. But I'm glad you asked that because yeah, that was a blast. Jack says he raised her to be his actual daughter, carrying the same values he had toward the galaxy. That's why she's wearing his armor and carrying his sword. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what I was going with. This is a version of Gamora that instead of rejecting his teachings at the later stage in life, she just continues on as she was in the beginning, you know? I love this part too. Yondu misremembers Robin Hood as Robin Leach. That's the lifestyles from the rich and famous host. You got to be a certain kind of either boomer, Gen Xer, or, and like I call myself, a millennial to be able to get that joke, but I got a kick out of it. T'Challa briefly teams up with Howard the Duck, played by Seth Green, who has cameos in the two Guardians movies and Avengers Endgame. He also starred in a thoroughly strange 1986 live-action movie, but that isn't part of the MCU for now. Well, it's got duck titties in it, so they ain't gonna make that part of the MCU. That's just too sexy for the Marvel movies, man. If you put duck titties in every Marvel movie, they would gross twice as much. Take that shit to the bank, Bob Chapek, Kevin Feige. You want to know how to make Marvel really succeed? Duck titties. Like humanoid duck titties. Just me? All right, cool. Any of you guys seen Howard the Duck? Never seen that, Random Andy's channel. Just kidding. Got it on my hard drive right now as we speak. So disgusting, dude. What a gross. Do y'all remember? No, nobody remembers Steak and Cheese. Rotten.com. Steak and Cheese and Rotten.com, man. They're kind of like what Reddit 50/50 is now. Anyways, anybody seen Howard the Duck? Yes, OG Howard the Duck movie is awesome. It is, man. And unfortunately, the bad guy in it, the science guy who is in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, real pervert. Real creep. Seemed like such a nice guy. Yeah, right. He seemed like a creep in the movies. I need to rewatch Howard the Duck. I haven't seen it in many years, but being that I was 6 years old when it came out, I think I've probably seen Howard the Duck 20 to 30 times, like a bunch. Anyways, Karina, Collector's Servant, tried to betray him in the main MCU timeline as well. She wasn't as successful there since she grabbed the Power Stone and was destroyed by its power in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I actually forgot about that, but I do like that character. Got a chatty dog. Glad to hear him, though. You know what I mean? Better than not hearing him. Let's see. The Collector's fate. Facing a horde of people he subjugated is similar to that of the Grand Master in Thor Ragnarok. These characters are brothers, and somebody actually brought that up in the chat a little bit ago. Yeah, let's do a rewatch of Howard the Duck on your channel. I would love to, man. That would be a blast. That would be a good time. Patrick McCabe, it's a great Get Drunk with Friends movie. Random Andy's channel, I have seen it. It's so bad. Yeah, man. It's bad in a good way because it is so just insane. Leah Thompson, she didn't have too much luck in love when she was a young actress, if you know what I mean. In one movie, she fell in love with her son. In the other movie, she fucks a duck. Hard to say which one of those things is worse. Well, I guess the humanoid duck is better. It's like a clear, less morally ambiguous thing. I don't know. You guys let me know. Let me know what the more shameful role for Leah Thompson was. Was it the fuck the duck or was it the wanna fuck your son? Cleveland. Yeah, dude. Waiting for the responses to my terrible question to come through here in just a moment. And we'll see what you freaks think. What was your first movie you saw bare female chesticles? That's a good question, dude. My parents, I was kind of a latchkey kid, between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, and there was nobody around. And then I had an older brother, and I would go stay at friends' houses whose parents were less strict than mine. So I was exposed to stuff really, really early on. And I would have to think on that. I saw Bram Stoker's Dracula in the theater when I was 10 years old, and there's a lot of sex in that movie. But that was just the first R-rated movie I saw in the theater. It wasn't the first time. I don't know. It might come back to me though. I'll have to think about that one. Yeah, I'm actually asking. That was not a rhetorical. Jim Morrison is a Back to the Future fan. Interesting. I'm on the fence, to be honest. Animal better if it's sentient. Or at least didn't give birth to a humanoid duck. Yeah, dude, I wonder. I think Eyes Wide Shut was one of the first films for adults I remember seeing. That's a good movie. It's a good movie. I mean, I saw like Porky's and shit when I was like, young, dude. I don't know. It's probably one of those situations where it was like before I remember, I don't know. Then again, ducks have corkscrew peens. Yeah. Which is either a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I almost feel like it would have to be it'd have to be the sun, right? It would have to, I don't know, man. I wonder what Leah Thompson thinks about that. I wonder if she's got that question before. I'm going to reach out on Twitter. Be like, hey, I know you haven't lived this down for your whole career, so I'm going to try to just restoke this fire. What's more embarrassing, Leah Thompson? She was a babe, though, right? She was definitely a babe. She was in one of the episodes of Tales from the Crypt, also the one where she's like a thick Jersey accent girl, and she's like very vain, and she goes and sees a witch doctor who promises that she can keep her eternally young and beautiful, but then she starts like aging super fast, and the makeup in it's really bad. I love that the last comment in the live chat right now is, then again, ducks have corkscrew peens. Man, this is a hot question on our live stream right now. Which is better? It was a Seagull movie. I think you mean a Steven Seagal movie, but if it was a Seagull movie, dude, slightly sexier than a duck movie. Patrick McCabe, have a fantastic weekend, dude. Have a good weekend, bro. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit. At the Wakanda party, Kraglin talks about jump points making your face all scrambly. We saw this in Guardians Volume 2. I liked that. And just being like, yeah, your face gets all scrambly. That was like a very cartoony thing that they did in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that reminded me of that little, you guys might know what he was called. He was like this little demon that drove a hot rod, and his eyes like bulged out this way, and his tongue, but his whole face was like pulled back from the speed that he was going. Yeah, Steven Seagal movie. Kind of worked out in the conversation though, didn't it? TMS SMT. For shame. Oh man, that's good. Peter Quill is listening to Space Age Love Song in the final scene. This 1982 A Flock of Seagulls tune plays during the 80s themed homecoming dance in Spider-Man Homecoming. So it was used in Spider-Man Homecoming as well as this, which is great because if you buy the rights to a song, might as well get your money's worth out of it. You know what I mean? You already got it in the library. Use it up. Flock of Seagulls, pretty good, but to be honest with you, I know this is kind of like basic Flock of Seagulls fan, but all I know is I Ran. Like, I don't know any Flock of Seagulls song other than I ran so far away. Copyright claim, shut it down. Yes, I do, Random Andy's channel. I would definitely like to take a look-see at that while we're on the conversation of Marvel. Last little factoid, the Celestials created the Eternals, a race of immortal super beings who will star in their own movie this November. Well, no shit. We knew about that. All right, let's see what's up with ScarJo. I think they really screwed her, says Fan Out Crew. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Let's see. This is from The Wrap. Scarlett Johansson accuses Disney of trying to hide its misconduct with Black Widow arbitration demand. Quote, why is Disney so afraid of litigating this case in public? Johansson's attorney said on Saturday. Saturday? That's today. Oh, damn, this just happened. Hot off the press, baby. Look at us. I am a credible news source now because Andy sent me a link. Journalism, baby. Film journalism. Exciting. Brock, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the conversation. Hell yeah, I'm excited about Shang-Chi, man. Can't wait. That one's one of the more anticipated Marvel movies that I'm looking forward to, especially on the heels of hearing so much positive praise being heaped at it. So hell yeah, dude. Can't wait. Can't wait to see it. You guys do me a favor. Take a second to click the thumbs up button while you are here. It really does help the channel out. I know that I got more likes than people viewing, but if any of you are new here and you haven't clicked that thumbs up button, do that real quick for me. Really help the algorithm out. Fan Out Crew says, I was looking forward to Shang-Chi, but after hearing the reviews, I'm ecstatic. Yeah, for sure. All right, so according to The Wrap, Scarlett Johansson said through her attorney Saturday that Disney is trying to hide its misconduct with a request to move her Black Widow's lawsuit to arbitration. Not necessarily the best place to get your news from because I don't know legal jargon. Like, I think that just means they're going to do it. They're going to settle out of court, if I'm not mistaken. The use of an arbitrator to settle a dispute. Yes, they're going to try to settle it out of court. Scarlett Johansson's team, not interested. Not interested in doing that. They say, after initially responding to this litigation with a misogynistic attack against Scarlett Johansson, Disney is now predictably trying to hide its misconduct in a confidential arbitration. John Berlinski said in a statement provided to The Wrap Saturday in response to the reveal that Disney's motion to compel arbitration this morning. I love it, dude. I love it. Why is Disney so afraid of litigating this case in public? Because it knows that Marvel's promises to give Black Widow a typical theatrical release, like in its other films, had everything to do with guaranteeing that Disney wouldn't cannibalize box office receipts in order to boost Disney Plus subscriptions. Yet that's exactly what happened, and we look forward to presenting the overwhelming evidence that proves it. All right, let me look at that again. Because it knows that Marvel's promises to give Black Widow a typical theatrical release, like its other films, has everything to do with guaranteeing that Disney wouldn't cannibalize box office receipts in order to boost. So basically, Marvel promised to give Black Widow a theatrical release the same way it did all its other movies. And they did that. They guaranteed that so that Disney wouldn't cannibalize box office receipts in order to boost Disney Plus subscriptions. They say they've got overwhelming proof that proves it. At first, when I read the response to Scarlett Johansson, I didn't see anything that was inherently sexist about it. I don't think there's anything overtly sexist. I think it's in coded language, which coded language kind of is protected in many ways because it doesn't matter what you mean when you say something. It matters what you say in the eyes of the law. I mean, we all understand context, tone of voice, timbre of voice, you know, like there's a lot of things that go into the mannerisms of your body, your facial expressions, you know, non-verbal communication, all of the other things matter. If I'm like, have a really good day, then you know I'm not saying like, I hope you have a good day. You're saying, I hope you fucking die on your way to Walmart, right? But if you read that statement, all I said is, I hope you have a really good day. So no, there was nothing overtly sexist in what Disney said, but the fact that they were like, you know, she's not taking the pandemic seriously and we paid her $20 million, that's a very weird flex. Like, they would not have done that, I don't think, to other talents, you know? And it's funny because Disney, as this is my buddy Daniel, German Rifter, sent me a link or tweeted it or something that was like, you know, if they're so worried about the pandemic, why were their parks like the first things open with, you know, tens of thousands of people passing through every day? It's a very good point, you know? It's a very good point. But the fact that they tried to like make her look like a villain to the public completely blew up in their faces. And now they're like, well, we can settle this. So I don't know if Scarlett Johansson's team's like doing this out of principle. I don't know if they think they'll get more money if they win the court of public opinion and that they can hold Disney's feet to the fire even more. But if what they owed Johansson was $10 million and they were willing to give her the $10 million out of court, I think I would have probably went that direction just because it's quick and easy. But if they owe her $10 million and they're offering her $5 million, then I would probably take it to court just to kind of like out of principle and to break that glass ceiling for other actresses or actors that may be experiencing similar treatment due to their gender. So let me go back a little bit. I'm very curious what you guys think about that. Fan out crew, I was looking forward. Okay, yeah, we saw that one. Did you? I thought it sounded like John Krasinski, but Scarlett Johansson's attorney is Berlinski, John Berlinski. Random Andy's channel says Shang-Chi, but he's excited for Shang-Chi, but Eternals looks even better. I love it. Yeah, Mark McKeever, out of court equals out of press. That's what they would hope for, that they can just handle it behind closed doors and move on. Disney is screwed because they wanted to keep more money for themselves, says the Cat Drums 3. Yeah, tale as old as time, man. And they're just very shrewd businessmen above the, you know, like we all know and love Kevin Feige, but the shareholders, the investors, all the people above him that are like Disney, like it was Bob Iger before, Bob Chapek now, these are not people who give a shit about art or entertainment or artists or entertainers. They only care about the money. And this was a very bad move. In fact, I saw somebody mention a moment ago, Cat Drums 3, they can use their statement to easily show sexism due to the actual definitions of the words they use. They imply naturally. Fan out crew, Bob Chapek is running that company into the ground. Stupid Genie Plus paid lightning lane bullshit. Oh. Grand. Yeah. Yeah, that's I haven't so far. I haven't liked Chapek at all. Ground. Okay, so Bob Chapek is running that company into the ground. Stupid Genie Plus paid lightning lane bullshit. Yeah, man. Yeah. TMS SMT, I'm still so mixed on this. I don't want companies to not go to streaming because having 2 kids, opportunity to go to the theaters is minimal. But at the same time, it's hard to say, I hope Disney crushes her. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, everybody's just kind of trying to serve their, I mean, like, what's best for you is best for you, right? So I can't say whether or not you would, if you have 2 kids, the $30 a month premium, the $30 on top of your regular subscription fee is definitely worth it. For somebody like me, it's definitely not worth it. I mean, because I have A-list, I get to go to 3 movies a week, every month for like $23. So like I'm getting all the movies for less than one movie. If you've got a family, you know, I understand it starts to become much more justifiable. But for me, it's like, I don't care how much I want to see a movie on principle alone. I can't spend $30 on it. Just, it's like my brain won't allow me to do that. If I was a millionaire, you know? Yeah, fan out crew, I agree. I can't believe Disney played the pandemic card. Seriously ridiculous. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Chapek did call Shang-Chi an experiment, but my favorite part about that was it gave Tony Leung the opportunity to come back and respond in the most, like, fucking empowering way possible. And yeah, I think that it is a double meaning kind of thing. Obviously, they're the underdogs because of the race thing, but I think for a lot of reasons. So, like, I always root for the underdogs, and I thought that his statement in response to Chapek's very aloof and disconnected comment was perfect. You would never hear Kevin Feige call any of their movies a fucking experiment. I mean, they're all experiments, or none of them are experiments, you know? Jack says, yeah, they only care about money. They were about to cut Spider-Man out because Sony wouldn't give them the rights to the profits of the movie. They settled on Disney doing their advertising and merch. Yeah, dude, they are so shrewd. They're in a position to be like, okay, you don't want to give us Spider-Man? Well, then fuck you and fuck Spider-Man. We'll be fine, you know? And I mean, we empowered them in that way, and it is great because we like Kevin Feige. We like Marvel Studios. I love Disney's entertainment. Like, Disney has always been a trusted brand for a reason. It's like Mac makes good fucking computers. That's why people use them. And Disney makes good fucking movies, and that's why people watch them. But behind the scenes and past that, I just want to impress upon people how dangerous it is to have any sort of monopoly like this. We were discussing the other day with, I think it might have been Colby. I can't remember who I was talking about with it, but the whole conversation was just basically about, like, fuck. It was about how Disney was, oh my God, I'll come back around to it. It'll pop in my mind in like 5 seconds. They only care about money. Spider-Man wouldn't give them the rights. Disney's advertising and merch. Yeah, I lost it. Damn, dude. It's doing so good there for a little while. That's why I need people to keep me on track. Oh, boy. Oh, brother. It's kind of embarrassing there. Anyways, bye. Mac makes good computers, unsubbed. They really do, man. They really do make good product. I think that's the thing that you can be sure of, is that they're going to consistently give you a good product. But past that, blank. Don't really remember what I was saying past that part. If I just keep on beating the same horse, then it'll make it better. But instead, I'm just going to move on. Yeah, I don't know. What if episode 3? Not really sure what we're going to get. Yeah, we were talking about the SSD clone, but there was something else. Were we talking about financial stuff with Disney? It has something to do with Disney finances, and that's why it like slipped my mind. It was something about how the Star Wars situation where they were trying to take 95% of the box office take for the Star Wars movies from theaters, and the theaters were like, we don't think we can afford it. We'll have to shut down our doors. And they're like, all right, well, fuck you then, you know? And they're in a position to do that. Oh, it was me and you, Colby. And it was this idea that it was me and Julio. Does Disney control any part of the narrative for movies? Because the Suicide Squad made the same amount of money as Free Guy on opening weekend, but they were calling Free Guy a success and the Suicide Squad a failure. And I was talking about box office projections and predictions and how a lot of times they will say what they think a movie's going to make, and if it underperforms from what they thought it was going to make, they'll consider it a failure, where if it overperforms from what their projections were, that they will consider it a success. Other way around. You get what I'm saying? But they said Free Guy was a success. The Suicide Squad was a failure. Disney owns ABC. They're a multimedia conglomerate. They're massive. Their roots run deep. They've infiltrated so many different aspects of American society and global culture as a whole that, they've got a lot of pull. And then some journalists, you don't want to say anything bad about a Disney movie because then you're not going to be able to go stand on the red carpet at the premiere with the stormtroopers and the stuff, You don't want to be cut out of the Disney club because if you do something bad to Disney and they won't let you into press screenings, now all of a sudden you can't watch Marvel, you can't watch Pixar, you can't watch Disney Studios adaptations of stupid fucking rides. You can't watch Disney's adaptations of stupid fucking villains that nobody cared about their origin stories for until now. And all of a sudden that's like big business to take these shitty two-dimensional characters and turn them into anti-heroes. I get it, man. I see what you motherfuckers are doing, Disney. And I do. I think there's an element of that. It's like it's a club. You want to be on the inside of the club. It's like you don't want to get to the club and then close the little red rope in front of you, Oh, sorry. You're not on the list. You said that the last movie sucked. So fuck you. We don't need you anymore. We're going to make sure that everybody in here has a good time. And if they don't have a good time, they can get the fuck out. Go to the party down the street. Go to the Warner Brothers party where everything sucks. You want to hang out with them? You want to hang out with us? TMS SMT, I would have to pull it up, and I have no objections to do that, but I think they were comparable. Free Guy budget. 100 to 125. 185. Okay. Yeah, sorry. You're 100% correct. Suicide Squad is a much higher budget, so obviously that is going to play a big factor. And plus, the Suicide Squad is a known commodity. The first Suicide Squad did pretty good as far as box office gross, and it's based on an IP that people are at least peripherally familiar with after the first film. But that actually may have worked against it because people didn't like the first Suicide Squad, so maybe they were like, I don't want to see that movie that I didn't like again. Or they re-release the same movie? They could have at least put Suicide Squad 2 in. I think there's a lot of reasons why the Suicide Squad didn't perform better. The biggest and most obvious is the day and date release. I watched it 3 times. That's 2 rewatches that they didn't get the money for because I watched it at home. So like I would have paid the ticket 3 times if it were not available on streaming. And people think I didn't like the Suicide Squad because I did not criticize it. But yeah. Thank you, Mark McKeever. Appreciate that. Free Guy costs less than half of the Suicide Squad to make. That's why close. Yeah, definitely close. Mark McKeever says, I think we'll see a what-if version of Kang. Mark, in a way, we might have already. With the Kang that we got in Loki. And then it's also possible that in these next phase of live-action movies, because this is going to be Kang the Conqueror instead of He Who Remains, that's another kind of Elseworld what-if version of the character. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Kangs going at each other. At least an Ant-Man movie. Quantumania? That's a cool name, man. Not as cool as Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder is the one I'm probably the most stoked about. I love Taika Waititi's take on this character. I love the late 1970s, early 1980s fantasy aesthetic. And this is really what they're leaning into. Like, it feels like a fucking heavy metal album cover. I thought Ragnarok was the same thing. It just reminds me of a Led Zeppelin song. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then they used Immigrant Song in the movie, dude. Oh, man. So good. So good. Oh, Cat Drums, that's an interesting take. Suicide Squad made bank off the music and they haven't released the new album yet. So they're already losing money due to not having the merch sales. Why don't they put out the album for it? That'd be a great place to to get a bunch of revenue for it. Okay, Jack, that's good information. They built a fucking beach in the backlot in Atlanta for the Suicide Squad. Most of Free Guy is just blue screen, I'm sure, so it makes sense why it's so cheap. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point. I'm so afraid Love and Thunder will suck. Oh man, I hope not. I hope not. Trust me, if Lady Thor wields the power of Mjolnir, people are gonna call her Mary Sue. You mark my words. Be like, oh, all of a sudden some chick can lift Thor's hammer. She's a fucking Mary Sue. And I'm like, yeah, well, Thor can lift his hammer. Why don't you call him a Mary Sue? Oh, because chicks aren't allowed to be good at stuff. Anyways, whatever. Fucking whatever. Identity politics, man. Ugh. They fucking yuck my yum every time. They yuck my yum. I hope it doesn't suck. I really hope it doesn't suck. I think I heard my dog panting in the hallway. But yeah, so as far as What If goes, I think it's a great series so far. I much preferred the second episode to the first. However, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for in this series and who the characters that you respond to the most are. But I'm very curious how everybody's feeling after episode 2. Did it make you more excited for the future of the show? Did you think it was a step up, a step down? Go ahead and leave that stuff in the comment section if you're watching this in playback. I would love to hear from you. The reason why I do these streams is so that I can hear from you and have you participate in the conversation, because this whole channel, it doesn't work without you, without your contribution, without your participation. So thank you all very much who are in the live chat right now. It always means a lot to me, and I appreciate you all very much. Let's see. The Cat Drums 3 says the reason the new album isn't out yet for the Suicide Squad is that music production is down due to COVID. Only artists like Billie Eilish are getting their stuff made right now. Fair, but we're talking about a compilation of tracks that already exist. And this isn't to contradict, just to say like it's different having somebody in the booth than having a producer in the studio than some engineer somewhere just taking 15 different songs and putting them onto a digital file and then exporting it and sending it to somebody. This isn't a multiple person job. I mean, maybe there's like a mastering process to make sure that they all sound good on the same album, because I know different producers produce different music. So maybe they go through and they mix and master it in a way so that it consistently, occupies about the same frequencies, spectrum of frequencies, compression, all that kind of shit. If they need somebody to do it, I'll fucking do it for them in an hour. That's all I'm saying. If that's what's holding them back, I'll do that. Tyler Stone, man. Hey, love the channel. I love you back, man. Thank you very much for stopping by. The coat rack is where it holds Mjolnir in the dark world. That's right. Mark McKeever is waiting for the She-Hulk series with the title character that breaks the fourth wall. That'll be fun. Yeah, very much. And apparently Abomination's going to have a big role in that series as well. Maybe she's going to be defending him in the court of law. That would be wild. I'm curious, man. I'm really liking it. I'm really liking that they're going far out at this point. With Iron Man in 2008, it had to be grounded. It had to ground us as the audience and say, here's both feet firmly planted on the ground in the desert. We're going to introduce one fantastical element. And then every subsequent release after that has been add one more fantastical element, add one more fantastical element. And now we've gotten to a place where you can literally do anything. And that's pretty fucking cool. Eternals will be better than Shang-Chi. Mark my words. That's from MLG Hayes XL. A lot of people are saying this, and a lot of people are talking about how good Shang-Chi is. So if Eternals is even better than a movie that's in John Campia's top 5 superhero movies of all time, that would be some shit, man. And to get them both back to back like that, then Spider-Man's going to have huge shoes to fill. And then is Spider-Man going to be better than the Eternals? I mean, this is the third time we've seen Tom Holland as Spider-Man. And since 2004, it is the 3rd, 5th, 7th. This will be the 9th time we've seen Spider-Man in a movie. Maybe my math is off, but 9th time we've seen Spider-Man in a movie since 2004, which is a lot of Spider-Man. So if you ask me, I'm a little Spider-Man'd out. Not going to lie, he's my favorite Marvel character. And I'm like, fucking give me something else, dude. Same with Batman, but I'm also really looking forward to the Batman movie. But after this, it's like, all right. Got a lot of Batman since 1989. A lot of Batman. A lot of Spider-Man. Nobody else like Batman and Spider-Man, though, right? I mean, Iron Man's ended up in a lot of shit. I don't know. Let's see. The Cat Drums 3 says episode 2 was nice and better than the first, but I still don't like the art and how they make the characters talk. It's an uncanny valley between Sly Cooper and Spider-Verse, and that's what that What If sits in. Like, no. I know, like, I get it. I think that's fair. She-Hulk versus Daredevil is all I want. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see what they do with all of this stuff. If you haven't clicked the like button, do me a favor, take a second to do that for me real quick. It really does help the channel out. If you want some Terrible Attire merch, I recently changed the name from Terrible Apparel to Terrible Attire because I can own Terrible Attire. Apparently there already was a Terrible Apparel out there. So I've got that design right there on a t-shirt. I made that in Adobe Illustrator, which is something I've been starting to do a little bit more of. Simple design, but I think it is pretty cool. And then also you can get your Tombstone limited t-shirt right there. A tribute to Val Kilmer, who there's a documentary for him on Amazon Prime right now. So get your I'm Your Huckleberry t-shirt or get your The Crow t-shirt. We're going to be talking a little bit more about The Crow throughout the month of October. If you want to find out other ways that you can support the movement, the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel, my little corner of YouTube, all you got to do is you can click the join button down below. That way you can get custom emojis as well as badges. Got a couple fancy ones in the live right now. You can take a look at the little film reels. They kind of evolve as you continue to show your support. Also, there is a Movies Are Terrible Patreon page. If you want to head over there, give it a look, decide which of the tiers is right for you, and then when the time comes and you decide you got a little bit of extra money and you want to help a small content creator, there is a good way to do it. Yeah, man. Also, make sure to check out Gaming is Terrible. And if you want to check out more of these live streams, every Saturday at 10 a.m. CST, as well as every Thursday at 6 p.m. CST, you can always find me recapping the week's Marvel content, the worldwide weird news headlines, some stuff in the world of Florida Man. We talk about topics that were submitted by Patreon supporters, all sorts of shit. So yeah. I think that about wraps it up for today. Thank you all again so much for stopping by. My name is Jeremy, and until next time, be terrible.